Same video in the car. So basically that noise comes from the electronic power steering rack. And apparently there's a bushing, it's called the thrust bushing, that is this thing, right? And it puts tension on the rack steering, because the electronic power steering is just a traditional rack and pinion steering gear, but instead of using hydraulic pressure to turn the gear that pushes the steering left or right, it uses an electric motor. And this thing puts pressure on that bar left and right so that it can't move up and down, or it can, but it's under tension with the spring to kind of absorb, because if it was just solid, it would snap as the car went over bumps. And so I guess this is designed to absorb those vibrations or slight movements, like what you're hearing when we move the steering wheel back and forth. And this wears out, as the bar's sliding over it, the lubricant grease in there dries up, gets pushed out of the way, and then this wears down, and the tension is preset with this, let's not prepare. It's preset with this, the more you turn this in, the harder it pushes down on this. And from the factory, since it's preset, as this bushing wears down, that bar can bounce around in there. And I think what I've seen is some people can just tighten this. Like, I think if you catch it early enough, you probably could just tighten this piece down and it'd be fine. But honestly, I've let mine go so long, and from what I've seen from other people, this piece gets so worn out that even if you do tighten it down, it's not holding, because you see it has a specific shape to hold that bar where it's supposed to be. Mine's not doing that. So I'm just going to replace the whole thing. Some of the kits come with the lubricant, the grease that you need. It's a BMW grease, FB1. My kit did not, and I forgot to order it, so I just went to AutoZone. I looked up the data sheet, and it's a silicone-based grease, and Prestone makes this Prestone brake parts lubricant, and it is a synthetic silicone-based, they call it DBC, which apparently is the same product or formulation that BMW uses in theirs. I guess you should probably order the FB1 grease, but for me, this car has 340,000 miles, and in my book, if I get 400,000 miles out of the steering rack, that's a win. So I don't care. I've seen this video posted for so many different cars where they say it's a common issue on F series car. They list like the F20, the F25, the I don't know, there's all those different F series. And it basically goes from like the 2 series to the 3 series to the 4 series to the 5 series. But this has the V8. And so I couldn't really find anything other than a couple of forums where people were questioning, does it work for this car, the F15? And, people say it's not common, it doesn't affect these cars, but I'm going to tell you, if this kit that is listed for all of the other cars, if it fits this car and if it fixes the problem. Because I want to say that that power steering unit they use on all of their cars. In order to access where that panel is stored, you have to take off this pan. I think some people reference it as a belly pan. Some people reference it as an undercarriage cover, as a shield. Basically, it's just a fiberglass felt covered, and you can see mine's seen its fair share of rocks and curbs. But with this, once you remove it, we should see it running across here and have access to it. Okay, so look what I found in here. What the fuck? Where did this come from? I think it was like right here. You can even see the outline. What? Okay, and there was this. Huh? This looks like a Toyota. Is it still no battery? Oh, it still works. Huh. Well, maybe I'll drive around and start clicking it and see if I can find whose car it is. What dealership did I go to last? Did I pick it up from the road? So with this belly pan off, that right there is the motor, and then up in here, that little circular cylindrical housing with the 3 dots on it, that is where that bushing sits. So I have to unscrew that and then take the bushing out, but there's that big chunky wire on there. I don't know, I'll do some digging to see what the best way to get room to work is. So I was able to spin it out. It is hard at first. I needed a pretty long bar in order to get enough leverage to start spinning it. And then I think once the tension from that spring was off, it kind of backed off. But now that it's out, here's the piece. We'll see. I'll compare it new and old and see if this is something I can reuse. This one looks like it has thread seal, but not a seal. I think they redesigned it. We'll see. Maybe I can show this is the spring. And let's see if I can get that piece out. Some people said you could take a pair of pliers, needle nose or something. I don't have those with me, so I have to go get them. So I've got these pliers here, little needle nose, and I'll see. It's supposed to be able to just come out, but the problem is I don't know if I'm going to be able to grasp onto it hard enough to get it out with these. So I also had these, which are slightly bigger. There's no way. I need needle nose. This is the comparison. So the kit comes with the cap. I'm only assuming this is maybe something you can use to fill it with grease, like with one of those needle grease injections. Why else would you have access from the top, you know? I don't know. And then I guess with the rebuild, they expect you to take the boots off of the tie rods on the rack and put grease in. It comes with a new spring and a new bushing. This is the old one. They're very similar, except that I think that the newer one has a slightly higher raised surface right here compared to that one. And then the spring size, you can see the springs are different size, so maybe I should use that other spring. I don't know. Maybe one is stronger than the other, you know? Who knows? Then this is the old one. I had to use these. I'm sure a normal person who owns needle-nose pliers, but these are for like snap rings. And I just put it in here, opened it, and then I was able to pull it out, and it just slid right out. And then comparing the two, they are the same size, but you can see this one's worn compared to this. You know, it doesn't have that same defined shape. You have to push this in here. And I saw a tip online where they said if you use something like this to push it, it won't move out of the way. So that's what I'm gonna do. Yep, there it goes. That was a good tip. That was a good tip. So I adjusted that cap. Basically, the more you turn it clockwise, the higher the pretension. Turning it counterclockwise reduces the pretension that spring puts on it. And they said you want to get it to where it's not clunking, but also not binding the steering. And so I think I got a good, you know, where it is making some sound, but it's not really a clunk. I mean, maybe I could go a little tighter, but I think that's good. So now I'm going to take it for a drive just to see if the steering wheel feels like it's binding. If it's not returning to, it's not returning to center, so I think it is a little too tight. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes.